saw some interesting tidbits and whatnot. Caught the highlights, of course, for Golden State and the Lakers. Steph Curry came on big. LeBron, I know LeBron, they still slow. They couldn't match that. I like what Golden State's doing. I like the movement. I like the ball movement. Very impressive with the everything. Steph's still looking Steph. I saw that one move against AD. He took him to the hole. He went up under him and hit that shot up over him. I was like, this guy does this all the time. I'm telling you, that's the best teammate that AD ain't had. If he had Steph Curry, teams would be very more. I think I'll be a lot more successful because it just shows. And I know we're going to the next part of the NBA. We were into the next phase where it's the second half. It's not that much longer though. Thank goodness. It's a long enough season. So anyway, just watching some of the games, some of the things that are going on, much along the lines of everything. And um, what's up? What's up? Let's holler. I'm going to address this thing real quick about LeBron James because I'm thinking about doing a video about it tomorrow. But him wanting nine figures or whatever, basically I think he wants ownership. To get an extension would not really mean anything. Um, yeah, I'm gonna address them in just a little bit. I'm gonna talk about LeBron real quick. If he wants ownership and you're gonna sign an extension, that's what you should be. But the Lakers ain't gonna give you that. None of these teams are gonna give you that. They're gonna treat you like you're a plantation worker. So I don't, you know. Yeah, I heard about them being bitter. I didn't really tap into it. I left a message on Too Raw about look, the one thing that they're bitter about is that Jordan got the bag. They paid him for his commentary, his reflection, because it was about him. Let's keep it 100. If Jordan wasn't Jordan, them turkeys, nobody care about what Horace Grant, Pippen, and Longley got to say. They'd rather hear from from Dennis Rodman or Phil. They don't want to hear from them. They don't want to hear from them. Pippen would be treated like a bum because he underachieved. You think you so great and you think you all that. And I know you got Rasheed Wallace and some other people clap for you. And I do like Sheed most of the time, but that whole Scottie Pippen slurp juice, I'm like, no. Scottie didn't get the job done for Portland against the Lakers in 2000. He lost a lot of his credibility. Blew a 15-point lead. Kobe throws that lob up to Shaq. Your butt gets sent home, and that was that. Had you won that, then you go and beat the Pacers and Bird and Reggie. We talking a different tune about you, Scottie Pippen, but you messed up. That's it. That's the end of discussion. I'll give you a pass for Houston with Charles and Dream and them and that. I'll give you a pass for that. And I overlook you got older afterwards when you went back to Chicago. But that 2000, we cannot ignore that. That was your swan song. You were up against a young Kobe, a prime peak Shaq, a 67 win team, and you didn't get the job done. Yes, he did. So that's what is your legacy. That's why no one holds you. If they do put you in the top 50, you in the 48 slot, or you like somewhere between 33 and 48. And if we go 75, you're probably in the 35 to about 48 range. Had you beaten Shaq, Kobe Field, that 67 win team, when Shaq was unstoppable, we probably have you top 4 or 5. That's how far you fell off. So you took a 30 rank plunge and you got the nerve to be crying. You know. Now, I'm not even going to get into it about your ex being a 304 and messing with Jordan's son because that's tacky turkey. I know that plays some part, but we're not going to go there. We keep it classy around here on that. Unless, of course, I feel like for jokes, for kicks. But if you bring up yourself to think that you're as important as Michael Jeffrey Jordan, I'm going to have to probably bring out all the arsenal. Now, I'll give you a 94 with the Hugh Rollins phantom call against the Knicks, and you did play great. But what happened the next year? You stunk. You were average, and the Bulls were just looking like a team that was headed for 42-40ville at most. The Jordan comes out. And Jordan said he couldn't do nothing. You cats weren't there. So no one listens to Luke Longley. That's his that That's like that crackhead talk that Draymond Green would say that, yeah, I beat uh 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 Kyrie and LeBron and James Harden and stuff. No one is trying to hear the fourth wheel brag. Okay? Nobody trying to hear that mess. Nobody trying to hear that mess. I don't know what Longley would be mad about. I mean, he had a chance to go to Phoenix and he basically got fat and he didn't do nothing. I remember he was going to Australia and he was swimming with Phil Jackson, some stuff back then before he went to Phoenix and he became a never was. He was on a milk carton because he couldn't play. Okay? A lot of these cats that played with Jordan and them and Pippen, aside from Rodman, a lot of the other cats went all around. I'm not talking about Ron Harper because Harper was the truth. Okay? He was legit. I ain't talking about that cat. I ain't talking about Horace Grant. But the Tony Kukos of the world, he was in that one against when Jordan went there. He cried him out, and then Phil put him in, and he hit that game-winning shot against the Knicks. I remember that shot. You know, I know why they hated on Kukos because that was before. See, it wasn't always where foreign cats come over and they was all ballyhoo like they are now. Back then, you had to prove yourself. Yeah, well, they had to combine it because he wasn't that memorable when he left Chicago. I remember what it was like with him with Allen Iverson on the Sixers. He wasn't that memorable. He was big for Chicago, but he's another one of those cats that he was a sidekick to a sidekick. He wasn't that memorable with Philly. I remember. And he wasn't no Ginobili, okay? So just being left-handed, his game wasn't that deep. But anyway, um, I don't really pay these turkeys no mind, especially like they act like you can't see. They act like you Stevie Wonder, like you can't see what happened. Nobody cared about them without Jordan. They were not. They were gonna be. They were gonna basically be a nice, cute story that maybe they might be luck up and be a seventh, eighth seed and get their butt smashed in the first round. If we were talking about the day you take Jordan out the mix, are they even playing tournament worthy with that crew? Come on now. Scotty need to stop with all the revisionists. He was good in 94. I'll give him that. He played really well. You know, there's some people who will say the LeBron click Starburst crew, because they pretty much just slurp him, so they can go anywhere they want with that. They'll say, oh, well, see how good that was without Jordan. No, they didn't win no chip. Jordan was about getting deep, and that's the difference. But anyway, I'm not going to sit here and give this Tony Kukoc all this love. I remember him very well. And he had the right place, right situation. He was all right, but he wasn't great or nothing. He wasn't like this good player. He hit some shots, but he wasn't like somebody that you belly hoo. I remember. Jordan and Pippen were upset because he got paid all that money for coming overseas. People don't understand. It wasn't that long ago that Jordan got paid 30 plus million, and Jerry Reinstar's racist behind, hating behind, was like, I don't know if I should give you this money. This was Michael Jordan was having seats and booties packed, okay? Merch being sold left and right. Shoes flying off the shelves, okay? Peak prime. And he had the nerve to say with a straight face, I don't know if I should give up this money. And like I told Too Raw, and I put it there, they owe Jordan $200 million just out of GP, maybe more. I said that only because he said, I don't know if I should give him this money. And so I said that because it kind of came off like even though he let him play for the White Sox and that was suspect, it's the way he said, I don't know if I should give him this money. And I'm like, are you just that blind or your glasses working? Because I got to question him. I do kind of question him because this guy just happened to turn your life fortunes into a whole nother stratosphere. Okay? Without Michael Jordan, you were almost headed to bankruptcy. You sure as heck weren't headed to $1 billion. It's just like with Steph Curry and Golden State. I found out when they came, Curry comes there, $350 million. Now it's worth over $1 billion. And then I wonder, and you wonder why I call these plantations out, why I call these owners out as big because they don't share nothing with the guys who really put it there. Yeah, if a dude brings booties into chair seats and you can build state of art stadiums and you making money off their merch and their likeness, and we're talking decade on decade on decade, and you don't put them in as a part of an ownership or give them more than just a token statue or some jerseys or something, yeah, I'm looking at you like it's a plantation. Yeah, I'm calling you out. I sure am. I didn't want to hear Jerry Buss say Magic Johnson was like a son. Get that man his real ownership. When Michael Jordan should have had ownership of the Bulls. He shouldn't have had to go into no Washington. That's an insult. And play there and wear that dunce hat on his head. That man was known as a Bull, number 23. When we are talking about career-defining players who really put a team and make it noteworthy, yes, they deserve the real respect. Just like Bill Russell with Boston. Should have had some ownership. I'm going to say it. I'm going to really say it. Come on now. And Michael Jordan should have had some ownership. Just like Magic should have had some real ownership with the Lakers. Bird should have had some. Like who? Like who? And when you say that, you got to give me names. And the thing is, I don't think they would. I've never heard anything about Bruce Smith or Thurman Thomas being offered anything, or Andre Reed. Miss McGee wasn't considered a great Bills, though. And he kind of thrived in Baltimore. I don't know how it went, but Andre Reed, I definitely give you. Bruce Smith, I would make a strong case. He's not considered a great. If we're going to talk about great Bills receivers, you would say James Lofton, who was part of it, and Andre Reed. Mose wouldn't be considered one of the greats. Not like that. I liked him a lot. But Eric Mose is kind of like, it's kind of like saying Jerry Butler, if you're a Bills fan. You know, Steve Tasker, the white boy, would get love before Mose would. Just saying. But I understand what you mean. I think Cornelius Bennett would, Daryl Talley. You know, those guys, if they tally, can't move though. But those kind of cats. But they're not exactly the most wholesome, warm, loving bunch in Buffalo. Take it from someone born in Buffalo, it ain't the most liberal minded place. It's actually one of the 10 most segregated places in America, if you must know. So I don't foresee a lot of kumbaya. Because Marshawn Lynch told you about what he went through in Buffalo, and he was talking about it, and they used to mess with him all the time. And they do mess with you. So, but I agree. We should. But anyway, that's my rant with. And if LeBron was gonna get some, again, at this stage, it should be about some ownership. Ain't about trying to get paid for no 2 year, $150 million. You're not gonna suck up the team like that. They talking about looking for Trae Young. They ain't gonna waste no time with your old behind, especially when you just a 500 team and you ain't proved nothing and you on the finish line of your career. They're not gonna do it. I think that's his way out. So him and his son can play together. And I don't think his son is quite NBA ready. Just don't think so. From what I seen with his stat line, I ain't just saying. Kid got some work to do. Glad that he's, functioning. That's the main thing. But, you know, so, you know. So keep on, keep on, keep on. you know. Just waiting to see somebody else out there got something to say. Come on now. Okay. Okay, that's why, because the thing didn't go on. Yeah, okay, I got you. I'm sorry, because that thing had delayed, so I had to push this other one. Yeah, Buffalo's very much behind the eight ball racially. Yeah, very much. He ain't gonna be able to retire no age 47 with both sons, because he ain't gonna make it past another year or two. Everybody knows that that's almost done. Everybody knows almost done. Yeah, so Jordan Poole, I don't want to laugh at him, but Jordan Poole is in worse shape than Ben Simmons. If you didn't think that could ever happen, that just happened. Oh boy. How you go from a ring and messing with Icy Spice to riding the pine for a team that came and win 10 games? That sucks. Like, they don't even mind if you stat pad because you just suck. I mean, that's embarrassing. He's due back. He's due back. He's due back this weekend. He's due back this weekend. Yeah, I do feel for Jordan Poole. Potential star. I don't want to say potential. Because even at his best, he looked like he was almost ready to get good. Better than average. But yeah, he's a scrub now. Poole. Come on now. Poole. Because Dame won 2 events, the All-Star weekend. He was an All-Star. He is playing on a top-tier team, and he's still putting up numbers. His drop-off got to do with the fact that, A, he's not the best player on his team, and B, he's actually got to being exposed for not playing defense, and C, there's expectation. That's all. But Dame can still play. Jordan Poole just lost. He's just kind of like a cat who went from being able to write a hit song that his pen went out of ink. No, um no, no. Explain this about it. He's not superstar to bum. He was never a superstar to me. Who told you he was a superstar? Who told you? Please tell me who did. I never felt he was a superstar. I thought a great offensive talent, but what part of a superstar? When you say superstar, is he on Steph Curry's level? Is he on Jokic level? Is he on uh Luca Embiid, LeBron, Durant, even Kawhi Leonard? Is Giannis? Come on now, what do you say superstar? Is he even same mentioned the same breath as Jason Tatum? No, no. Well, I guess I'm a little bit different. I listen. I know he got picked as one of the 75 greatest players, but he put up numbers and he had some playoff success. But if I'm gonna hold Dame as a superstar, then I guess I call Paul George one too, right? I call Dame Devin Booker one too. I don't consider them to be superstars. Talent can score, but what has he done? What have I seen? One Western Conference Finals in his career, and he stunk that up. All I got is the Dame dollar, patting your arm, and shooting logo threes. His team has been a first round cash the last couple years, and he stunk the last year in Portland. And I know he put up the 70 plus points, but what has he done to help his team? What have I seen? He didn't go to Milwaukee, and I know Giannis is trying to talk the team talk. Giannis need to be drug tested. He could get him fired, but Doc brought that on himself. He should have stayed at that cushy job and kicked at the Doris Burke. Nobody tell that turkey to get up off of that. First of all, his track record ain't been that good, no way. And you stunk it up in Philly just a year and a half ago. You think we done forgot already? You ain't been gone long enough for us to forget. So it's gonna be a lot of divas going on in that situation. That's gonna be the problem. That's the problem. And that's why I didn't want him in Miami. Yes, it is. I did my video about JJ Redick. I hope you watched it. I had to eat that turkey up. His smug pompous behind like he's some politician talking about, well, I don't really want to do these takes. And I'm like, and when Rob Parker called him, I'm like, what are you talking about? That's why I got you with Stephen A. That's why Stephen A. trolling and clowning. Now, Stephen A. for his stepping and tap dancing, trying to downplay it. Now, what I do on this show? What I do on this show? I'm going to tell you what I do. I tell that white boy, I say, if you don't want to be on this show, take your behind on somewhere. Maybe try to get on the Fox News or go somewhere where your behind can go on. We doing you a favor. If Austin Rivers dissing JJ Redick, I'm gonna have to use this one because you can quote me right here. Austin Rivers dissing JJ Redick is like when Drake dissed Meek Mill. How does a non-rapping cat who's not even known for dissing people come up with a cold bar, dropping lines, dropping bars? That's embarrassing. If Austin Rivers comes out, that's true though. I told you before he was a third tier cat in Philly. Got to the Clippers. And he happened to kind of he got his blood. He should give Steph Curry $1 out of every check he gets. Every check. Maybe 10. Because once the 3-point ball became the source, he had a job. He was seen as shoot the three. That's what gave his butt why he got his NBA pension. Without Steph hitting the three emerging, that turkey would have been a casualty by year 7, 6, 7. He got the nerve to walk around with some attitude like he's somebody. Like, come on, man. You're all right in college, but your NBA career is 2 or 3 minutes long, and that's mostly what you wearing caps and suits. No one remembers your career like that. I mean, Austin Rivers dissing your behind. You suck, okay? That's how you know you suck. You a scrub. You worse than a scrub. So and I'm gonna tell you something. Austin Rivers ain't lying. Because that white boy could not play no defense to save his life. He got hot because he became a 3-point specialist. But like I said, when Steph Styling took over the league, him and a lot of these turkeys need to be giving Steph Curry $1 out of every check because he was the one that gave them work. Because if it was just to take the ball to the hole or the way it was with the post and what have you, 12 foot, 15 foot, turkey would have been gone. Would have been gone. Would have been gone. But that's what they do with these white boys, though. I saw that. I like Shea. I told you he's one of my top 5 for MVP consideration. Shoot, I saw that drive. Had him on skates. Look, I know they slurp Luka up and he can play, but Shea's on another level. If Shea gets some defense, if they can get some defense and, keep the bench straight, that's what you need. They're the kind of team the NBA needs. They need that young energy. They need a team like that to finally put the Thunder where they should have been. Because it's the only team I know there's a frustrating team from KD, Harding, and Westbrook with all them all-stars, all that talent, and they ain't been the one they've been the one finals to show for it in a couple Western conferences. That team is due. So I hope so. I hope so. I like Shea a lot. I hope so. He got handles he can move. I like Cat. I like Ant. I like Ant. I don't know about the mothers. We'll see. I'll trust Shea more than I trust them. I like OKC better than I do Minnesota. We'll see. You'll get your chance. Even if you're talking about how for real they are, we'll see. They'll get their chance. Believe me, they'll get their chance. Won't be long now. They'll get their chance. We shall see. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that. And I saw the video where he was in the studio by himself. One of them brothers that kind of spoke his opinion. And they, you know, he was. But they don't care about that. They want you to be go along, get along, slurp and slurp. There's a lot of politics goes involved, you know. And he speaks from the heart sometimes. He don't sugarcoat. He was good too. But that's not about that. It's not about that. Keep trying to tell you, they not don't care about how good you are. Shoot. Care about that. If ESPN cared about good, there's a lot of turkeys wouldn't be on their network. I'm gonna have to do a story about that tomorrow. I think I'll do that tomorrow. Well, he had that video where he was at the club. He don't slurp LeBron. He don't slurp LeBron. I mean, he also had that video where he had all that action going on too in the video. Like it was something out of a, you know, Cash Money video. And it was a little bit too extreme. But he don't slurp LeBron either. He's not a slurp. Him and KG be talking that talk. Sometime I'm gonna tell you like this with me and Paul Pierce. There are things I agree with. He was a great player. I'm not surprised because KG can't sell it because KG underachieved and to an extent. He was a great player, Hall of Fame, etc. However, his bark wasn't his bite wasn't as loud as his bark. And see, he has to like he underachieved. He didn't get what he should have gotten. And he likes the spotlight too much. This guy made more money than anybody at his time playing in the league, but was he worth it? But anyway, Pierce Pierce was a leader. Sometimes the problem I have with Paul Pierce is sometimes he think he better than he was because he will talk crazy. But he definitely, you know. But now KG's one of those that's bought and paid for because he wants to be good on the plantation. He about to get some more work too because Matt Barnes got let go. I'm sure you heard about that. They let him go too. I don't know what Matt Barnes was thinking, screaming at that kid, said that boy just lost his mind. But that's what happened. But yeah, I heard about KG. I've seen it. I don't waste my time with him. I always thought he was studio thugging anyway. Yeah, because he tried too hard. See, and I'm gonna tell you something in case you don't notice. I don't make it a big point. I don't sit around being vulgar and cursing and stuff because a lot of times when cats do a lot of that stuff, that's overacting. That's because they lack imagination and they lack vocabulary to articulate. I can call you a turkey. I can call you names and I can play the dozens with the best of them. I don't have to be vulgar and I don't have to. He is. See, first of all, he got some people, and I'm glad you picked up on it. He got some people thinking that he's a hood brother because he fighting because he light skinned and the hair and everything, and he don't want to be misconstrued. He says, I'm not no Elder Bar's brother. I'm a real brother. But I know he liked the money, he liked the lifestyle, and he does shuffle because he shuffles because he knows he's trying to talk a certain way to appeal. That is buck dancing. That's a great drive. Now, you got to be cursing loud and eagerish at this stage when you've been some places in the world, when you've been some places in corporate America, when you didn't won a ring, even though you really didn't win a ring, but you know what I'm getting at. You can't sit up there and expect people to think you hood. It's like Jay-Z Trill's trying to talk about the drugs and Macy's. Nobody's buying that at this stage. Because we see where you are. You're not that dude you were coming off the corner. So who are you shuffling for? And Matt Barnes is articulate enough where he knows better, but he be playing a role. That's why he be bucking. Oh yeah, I never call him out on this buck dancing. Buck dancing ain't always just shuffling for white folks. It's when you know how the cat be like, so-and-so this and so-and-so that. It's like how Eddie Griffin went on about Shannon Sharp's sexuality and talking about all this and all that. What was that had to do with anything? What is your point and purpose? Oh yeah. And see, Steven Jackson, With George Floyd, I thought he would have like turned a corner because that was his friend and all that. He got worse. And he got worse. And when Kwame Brown called him out and all that, he really got worse. Can't take cats like that serious because they do. You know, a lot of these turkeys get on my nerves because they'll say the N word 55 different times and curse and curse and curse and drink and talk and don't say nothing. You a buck dancer. You are. Because you're feeling the every stereotype that white folks got for you. But not only that, you're putting black folk down, but you're also doing stuff over the top. You're overdoing it. Good and well, if you were sitting up here with Mr. Whitesall and he says, well, Stephen and Matt, you ever got something to say? And I said, well, I want to be very dignified and I want to articulate and punctuate. You wouldn't be talking all that, yo, you, yo, ooh. You wouldn't be doing that. There's a time and a place we slang with the best of them. But there's ways that y'all go about the extra, doing too much, like you're going over the top, because this is what they tell you how to talk, and this is how they tell you how to walk to sell your brand to be on corporate TV. Because you really ain't like that. And DL be out there with Vlad TV and always got something to say, and he shuffles and he's bad. Yeah, because Rachel Nichols can put him places. That's why Rachel put in a word for the massa and get some work. See, you black basketball players, this thing is, I'm glad you brought that up. The big black buck. Now the company makes $1 million off of you and your name, but this little white woman got to be the thing that puts you on because why? Because you're not considered articulate. Think you too dumb to know what you're doing. Even though you allegedly, supposedly went to college, got a degree, supposedly smart person. But they got to put you on remedial 101. Yeah, well, because Rachel Nichols is the one that jollies up to these brothers. See that it's like I said before, these things ain't by accident. They right there in front of you to see. Nah, it never do. It never does. Cats try too hard to appeal to a segment that don't really care about them, and all they want you to do is badmouth and disrespect what got you there. You know. Steven Jackson should be counting his lucky stars for playing with Tim Duncan, but he ain't gonna never come out and say it properly. So, but that's how it work on TV. Excuse me. If you getting on TV, see, and I watch they show. And see, LeBron did the same mess with the barbershop and all that, and they do the same thing. They got all curse and drink and act like they hanging at an E40 concert or, Dr. Dre situation. It's a stereotype. It's a stereotype. There is nothing distinguished about the shooting the shake and saying, hey, I mean, I understand if you say certain things in moderation, but they go over the top. Now, Rasheed Wallace does it a bit too on Underdog. I like watching him, but sometimes he be a little bit with him out. But he funny because he can articulate. He'll say, how he felt about somebody, and it's funny. And he let it be known how he feel about somebody. There's a little bit difference how she does it. But see, she ain't getting the kind of bag that these turkeys is getting. They got some money on these cats. That's the difference. And I told you before, they really don't want the real black experience on these networks because if they did, it would be different. Believe me. Yeah, I laughed about that because he made it sound like and he didn't want to blame it like it was out to get him. No, what happened was they left Ori open. Ori bust they behind at a game 5 dunk on their butt. I never forgot that. He finished up. Y'all didn't. You know. Like I said, but she's one of the few, 8 times or 9 times out of 10, I'm with she. If they don't get into the politics, then I'm okay with it. What I mean by that, they don't fall in love that you got to pick Jordan or LeBron crap, or talk about Kobe, or talk about the random stuff that they want you to talk about. But if they talk about the actual game, the tears that they felt about players, who they respected, who they really like, uh, the ones that they really thought were the truth, and they give you a real good overall view, I'm all right with it. I just have problems with the ones that they're bought and paid for. That's the ones I have problems with. Because a lot of times these cats gotta get caught up in that fantasy trying to sell this agenda. Because the powers that be done got to them. So that's where I'm coming from. If they're not bought and paid for, I'm okay with them. It's the ones that I get the feeling that they bought and paid for. Yeah. So funny story though, but back in the 90s, so me and my boy was watching when he was on NBC. I think I told you the story. He came on the studio with Peter Vesey and what was it? Who was in that studio? Was it Costa or something? I think it was Bob Costas. Anyway, he said, "Don't get gangstered." And then white boys went real white on him. And we were cracking up because the next week Zeke was in the stands with a microphone because they got him out the studio because they were like, "What you mean don't get gangstered?" Because he brought the Chicago hood up in them NBC studios and they were scared. They he always kind of like he got a position, but they ain't let him, he was keeping them too real. I'll never forget that one. That was funny. That was funny. Yeah, it cracked me up when he said "You get gangster." We were cracking up because we was dying because the next week he was in the stands with a mic. I said, got his butt up out there. Got him up out of there. Them white folks like, what is he talking about, two gangster? What's he mean? What do you mean, two gangster? Why? What? Yeah, they wanted you to be, they wanted you to be ginger ale light for real. So I see what they be bringing up out of there. You know, they let Bill Walton pontificate. Bill Walton be all high all the time, talking all crazy. Yeah, and they talk about the Martians and the molecules. I'm like, all them Grateful Dead shows, all them drugs. So it's that's real. This was before that. This was before that. He was sitting in the studio, and I forgot what game it was, but my homeboy and I were cracking up on the phone because we were talking about what Zeke talked. Was like, what Zeke said? Get gangster, and then cracked up. A week later, he's in the stands with a mic. I was like, oh man, them white folks got scared, and they do. They do. The reason why I work with Ernie, Shaq, and Charles and Kenny is because they all kind of their humor, but also because they kind of like balance each other out. But you got to know they have to script it off with Charles sometime when he would be talking kind of loose, though. You know, so yeah, I remember that with Ovesi. He was like I said, he was a bit heavy, much with how he would be. Yeah, he's a balancer. He's a balancer speaker. I got respect for Ernie. And I think he picks up a lot about the brothers by hanging out with Shaq, Kenny, and Charles from a certain perspective too. I think he respects that. But I never get a sense that, when he articulates or anything, I never get a sense that he really speaks up about, he does his job so well, but what he really feels about the game that he sees. See, that's another thing. So I don't know. But I do like EJ. I like him because everybody couldn't do that job, especially when they got to have three brothers around them. Not if they're not cultured and versed, they can't. So, excuse me. Ulrich was great. They just ran him off. For what they got that the one brother out the Bay, the heavyset brother, and he got the job. He got Aldridge's gig. You know, he got a one brother. He'd be on ESPN sometime. I can't think his name. And then Windhorse, yeah, he had Winnie the Pooh. Oh, Winnie the Pooh, or Winnie the Brawn, if you want to call it, because that's the reason why he got the gig. See, he's kind of like whatchamacallit that was with Rodman, who came to Chicago as like his chaperone. That's basically what that is. Same thing. Because Winnie followed Braun from high school. Yeah, Haley. Just like Haley to Rodman, that's how Winnie is to LeBron. Chaperone. White boys always getting some hookups, some stuff that you couldn't even imagine. How the heck you a so-called journalist and you eat up half your budget and you are like this dude that they use as a gopher to all things. That's white privilege 101 right there. And he is considered a journalist too, by the way. Beat writer from the guy in high school and got himself a 40-year career. Think about it. And ain't that far off because LeBron been around. Well, if you consider high school to the pros, yeah, about almost 30. So I ain't that far off. So he been around watching him and they even used him as a meal ticket. Think about it. No one ever talks about it. That white boy done ate steaks and lobsters and prime rib and deer meat and any kind of meat you can think of because by his association with LeBron James. That's all he do. That was his bread and butter. That's a hustle. That's like all them years of school went out the window. It's like, what do you do? I chaperone and watch LeBron. Okay. You get 2 million in. So that's what's up. Hilarious in what way? Cause he be making faces and try. Yeah, he has some funny lines, but again, I can't take him too serious. I mean, he has some funny lines, but well, yeah. But me and Perk, I guess Perk's okay to an extent. I still remember the lack of his game though, so I'm kind of like, you know, yeah, Malika's their eye candy, but she's mean candy. So she won't be the last one. There'll be another one to come on. In what way? He's articulate, but he's a sidekick runner. When he does his show with Ocho Cinco, he's cool and he does in his interview, but he's not. He doesn't debate well, like in the sense that he does great narrative takes. He's a great punch when it comes to juicing on. Yeah, and you just have to give me the clips because I don't care what Johnny Manzo really. I saw the thing about the drinking and the party, and I already knew about that. But what's that got to do with him being a scrub when he played pro football? What had him trying to throw in the triple coverage, huh? No, he underachieved before he had a chance to even put his jersey on right. So I'm not really feeling what he got to say. But like I said, he gets a white quarterback come there and talk. And Manziel did have some notoriety, but I don't see what Johnny Manziel is worth talking about. He would be considered a bust. Yeah, I remember that. And that showed you why Jerry Jones is where he's been. Enough said. They like the white boy that was flashy. If he was black, they try to make him a receiver. Why am I gonna waste my time about some white boy who was a never was? I mean, Johnny Manziel's NFL career is a never was. Johnny Manziel sucks so bad he should have been at least a half broke white version of Kyler Murray. I don't really pay none of it no mind. I'm gonna tell you why. Because until I see who they go to, how things translate, I got to see things come to fruition. I don't really go by draft class. Now, CJ Stroud lived up to what he did, but as you saw with Jordan Love, that took a little time. Can't go by, got to be who your coach is, your offensive coordinator, your system, the talent you have, and your outlooks. You really think that he's better than Purdy? I don't. You really think that he's gonna make them into a winner with Shanahan as their coach or shenanigans? You say, I don't. I don't. I don't. And I do like Justin Fields. I think he's uh got an upside to him. But it's not that's not what the 49ers are missing. Well, yeah, go to Frisco and be the third quarterback out of four and lose to Patrick Mahomes again? I don't think so. I think Justin Fields can play. I just think that he got to be in a situation because Chicago don't do nothing. This is foreign for them. And I think they're gonna really try to get Caleb. That's what I think they're gonna try to do. That makes them 10-11 win team. But I don't know if they can beat Kansas City. I still don't know if they could beat them with that. Barkley is a little bit banged up, a little bit. Still very good. Evans would be a huge fit. I still don't know if that makes them title contender though. Yeah, they got a nice squad. They got a nice squad, and they on the come up. You know. And I watched that game against Baltimore. I had to think, what were they missing to beating Lamar and them? And they kind of fell flat in the second half. So it would be interesting, you know. If they do land those two, then they become a top 4 or 5 team in the AFC. They become a little bit of a problem. But it's how you work them in. This is where coaching comes in. How you going to work them into your offense? So. You told me that the other day. They still doing that because I didn't see it again, but they still doing that. They did that today because I haven't seen it today. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. If he was white, they'd be trying to name an award after him. Believe that, because they know they ain't seen nothing else like this. And he's an alarming. And see, the thing about it is when you went back to back, yep, yep. That's that, and see the 2 rings. That's the same argument with Steph Curry's guy with being top 10 over Durant. And when they talk about that, because Tyreek carries that kind of weight. Now I'm not gonna put can't quite say Tyreek Hill and Kevin Durant in the same sentence, but Tyreek got a chance to be one of the greatest receivers ever. He got a ring already, and his stats are gonna be crazy with what he can do. I know, but it didn't matter. They were dropping passes, couldn't do stuff, but their defense was good. I watched them this year. And as ugly as they played, they still got to the finish line. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. Ain't how you start, it's how you finish. That's how you know that dude's a bad man. Let him run rampant like he can do, and then it might be a challenge to the greatest regular season ever. That's how crazy and scary his thing can be. Because, I mean, he don't lose much. So, like I said, I hold Patrick Mahomes in high regard. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He sure is. He's big time to their to they get, they can get to the next to three-peat. He's huge. So I agree. I agree. Okay. Okay, okay. Yeah, it would be. It would put him. It would cement him as the goat. Um, it would. It would also. Uh, he moves up in football law. It'd be like it would be the kind of conversation where you wouldn't just talk about him as a player, as a quarterback, but you'd have to cement him as, you know. So I mean, it would be mind. It'd be astronomical. It'd be like a whole other level. How she get a Super Bowl ring? How she get a ring? You talking about Kelsey? Because it ain't got to do with Swift. And you got to specify what you're talking about. Are you? And if you and let me ask you this question: are you asking me, is she a Hall of Famer in her music career compared to like Marino in his football career? Because you gotta let me know. Well, they can do that. I mean, I'm sure Giselle Bundchen got a ring through Brady. You know these perks could have been part of the divorce settlement. You just don't hear about it. That's all. But then again, if Swift's been around what, 15, 20 years now, almost 20 years. She got a chance to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How you feel about that? How you feel about that? Because she's actually gotten bigger as the years has gone on. How do you feel about that? Think about that. Because that whole mess with her and Kanye was 15 years ago. And up until that point, she was having some run. She was kind of lumped with Katy Perry. She was in the post Britney Spears thing. But now she's about 2 decades deep. And to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is 25 years. So she's not that far off now. About 5 more years, yeah. You mean when you say favorite NBA defenses, are you talking about teams or players? Talking about the players? Because if you're talking about like Tony Allen or God, not Tony Allen, what's his name? Oh God, oh team. Oh, the Bulls. After the Pistons start off the '90s, and I'd say the Bulls. I mean, they play great defense. I know it's fashionable to say the Knicks and then to say the Heat, but you got to give the Bulls their due because Jordan and Pippen and Rodman and those guys and what they did against Shaq with the three-headed horseman, they that was part of their nucleus. They're not better than the Bulls, though. I know the '92 Knicks get a lot of love, but they weren't better than the Bulls, and neither were the '92 Blazers. Scottie Pippen called the '92 Blazers dumb. I remember that. Um, Pip did a great job. Jordan did a great job. They guarded. They really got in and guarded. That was a different era. Um, there were a lot of great defenses back then. I'll be honest with you. Um, the Heat had good defense at the end of the '90s. The Spurs had good defense at the end of the '90s. You know. Seattle had good defense too. I mean, before he became Professor Clump, Sean Kemp was defending. Gary Payton was the glove. So come on, there you go. Yeah, they did. That was a different era. It's funny that you mentioned this because this is like only because I remember it, but thinking about what goes for today, oh man, that seems like a lifetime ago. Ain't no defense. That's why I was laughing when you said it because it's funny. Before I came on live, I saw some clip about they had Cat and his 50 points at the All Star game, and he was grinning. I'm thinking, oh God. And see, this is what's so embarrassing. That's what a lot of people are going to think that you got all these All Stars. You're going to have people who are going to say the talent was so great that they couldn't even play defense. That's the crap that Adam Silver is pimping. I'm telling you, that's why I can't stand. Oh, offense. The Lakers in the 80s. I mean, Showtime alone was my favorite. Golden State's run the last 10. It's one of my favorites. Phoenix's run, they didn't win national. One of my favorites as far as offenses go. I like them three a lot. I like uh, Denver in the early 80s. That was a lot of fun. Um, Golden State in the 80s, run TMC. That was a lot of fun. Um, they were entertaining, but Sacramento in 2002 got them beat too. 2002 Sacramento was just as fun to watch. The Heat in 2013 were too, and they won all those games. 80s Warriors for me, more so. Run TMC, more so for me. The Steph Curry era run, been exciting. But teams did, again, you had teams that played defense back then. It's just different though. Hit the gritty. What's up, Cruz? Hit the gritty. It's a different era though. Different era. As a team, yes. If you're talking about one part of the ball, I thought the defense, I thought they, well, they had a series against Miami. What's up? How you living? How you living? Good to see you. Um, they had the team. I'm not gonna say the offense. I'm gonna tell you, like OKC's offense. What was the year? I would say 2011, 2012. That was something else. Houston with Harding and Harden had some big years, so Houston had some nice runs. There were some teams that had some nice runs. You know, depends on what your criteria is. Back in the 80s, the Sixers, obviously the Sixers early 80s, Dr. J before Moses and with Moses, they had some great offensive runs. Sup, sup. Oh, the Red Machine in the 70s is one of them. The Yankees in the mid 70s. Um, those lineups. The Phillies in the early 80s. Um, the Mariners in the late 90s. Atlanta in the early 90s. The Pittsburgh Pirates late 70s. The Oakland A's in the mid 70s. Favorite player in what sport? Favorite player in what sport? Because that's kind of like, because we're talking basketball, baseball. Oh, Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds. Yeah, me laughing at Ted. Yeah, Barry Bonds is my all-time favorite baseball player. Best baseball player I ever seen in my life. And I have a lot of other players that I like a lot, but he just really stood out because of all around game he played. I don't care what people say with all this. And Clemens is the greatest pitcher, right hand pitcher of my life. Now, before I was born, I tell you Bob Gibson, Satchel Paige, and Pedro's are close, but Clemens was more dominant. Clemens was more dominant. But again, I'm just calling it like just seen it. Bonds and Clemens are two of the greatest players I've ever seen in baseball, period. And I watched baseball. Baseball was my first love. Let that be known. Because if you grew up in a certain era in the time period, NBA was not the end all be all. And football was respected and it was good, but it was not seeing baseball. It wasn't seeing boxing, and it wasn't even okay. I played Auckland. I played. Okay, right on. Appreciate that. Okay. My favorite A's player, well, go in the 70s, Reggie. Had much respect for Sal Bandano. Sal Bando played all of the positions. They had Catfish Hunter before they went to the Yankees and everything like that. And Vita Blue. Never forget about old Vita Blue. And then, of course, the Bash Brothers in the 80s. But my all-time favorite Oakland A's player is probably Ricky Henderson. Keeping it 100. And I gave a lot of respect to Dave Stewart, but Ricky Henderson was one of those guys I would watch. And before Bonds took over for me, it probably would have been Ricky. Stu was a bad boy. He was a bad boy. And don't forget about Mr. Mustache Riley Fingers. And don't forget about the other mustache, Dennis Eckersley. They had quite a few characters on that squad over the years. Mm-hmm. But I have respect for them. Quite a bit. Yeah, I forgot about Zito. And my Barry Zito story. So if you watched the TV show Dallas, or J.R. Ewing, Bobby Ewing, if you ever watched Dallas, um, Patrick Duffy, who played Bobby Ewing, that's his nephew or his cut. They related, him and Barry Zito. And you kind of can see the resemblance with the hair, because Zito had that long Irish hairstyle like Patrick Duffy had. And I remember that long time. See, that's when you're a nerd. You're a sports nerd and you're a TV nerd, and you had too much time on your hands. But yeah, they family. Yeah. As I remember that came up on something, and I forgot what it was. I was like, wow. Because you see, I hadn't talked about Barry Zito. Yeah. I'm an AFC man. Anybody who knows me knows I root for the AFC. Um, yeah. I'm a Bills fan, but in football, I tend to root for the AFC to win. I'm more of an AFC dude, and I do like Mahomes a lot. And I made no secrets about it. If you ever watch me talk, I've said in years past that as much as I like Josh Allen, I did want the Bills to get Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. I've said that. I thought the world of those two. And I knew Mahomes was special. I just didn't know he was going to be like this. I knew he was going to be something else. I just didn't see it like this. I saw early on in his career the Steph Curry, Curly Neal, you know, but this to be what we're talking about him now, we're not just talking about him as a great player. We're talking all time great. We're talking historical. Did did not quite see it like that. Saw great, but and probably talking top 10, 6 to 10. No one talking about GOAT. Now we're talking about in a whole different lingo. So, but I did warn him though. I did. I I thought the world of him. You know, because sometimes you see somebody and you just know they got it, and he just happened. I just knew it. I just didn't know he was going to explode like this. They don't have to make a lot of moves. You got to remember, you lost to Frisco in the second round, a game you could have won. You're not that far off. You just got to get more discipline. Jordan Love just needs a little bit more seasoning. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Cruz. Appreciate that. I always welcome people coming through. And by all times you got questions or you want to check it out. Yeah, I mean, certain things y'all did in that game against the 49ers. Purdy hit a couple passes, but I still got a problem with your head coach on the offense. I think he did it with Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't. He gets he doesn't compartmentalize. He got to stick to Aaron Jones on the ground more. You got to know how to mix and match your situations. Should have beaten the 49ers. It's as flawed as Jordan Love was and as green as he was. That pick was on him at the end, but they still should have set that up to at least go to overtime. Should have been playing Detroit for the NFC Championship, and I will say that. And that's why I think that y'all gonna be running things in about another year or two. I do believe. Now I don't know if Detroit's gonna be there with you though, because I don't know if you come back from Dan Campbell making two colossal situations. The Dallas thing was one thing, and then you blow that lead in the NFC Championship game. I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know if Jared Goff can hold it together. I don't know. But y'all should have been playing for the NFC Championship game. I do know that. As I can make the case, y'all were the two best teams that I saw. Well, Harbaugh should have been on the hot seat because, I mean, Lamar Jackson, he's won 2 MVPs. They haven't exactly burnt the postseason up. And his Super Bowl ring that he won ain't that far removed from Mike McCarthy. And that's before there was a thing called Instagram. I'm just saying, you can stop me if I'm wrong. Stop me if you think I'm being mean. Been a long time. Now, I know winning a ring gets you a pass, but you start to enter the Fisher Price of you're going to be there 20 years, and we're going to be talking what you did back when Twitter first came out. You tell me. And you got a Hall of Fame quarterback, 2-time league MVP, and you've gone to a couple second rounds and one AFC Championship game to show for it with a guy who's won 2 league MVPs in a 5-year time, and you've got what to show for it? That's all I'm saying. Now, watch it on the computer. And I wouldn't dare buy tickets to go see the game. It's too overpriced, too overrated. Not my scene. Pandemic life, I don't go out in public per se a lot either. But I'm a maskers and stuff. And I really wouldn't waste my time with that. And I watched the commercials. I saw most of the stuff, It was the kind of game that the 49ers should have won with the right coach. 2 straight Super Bowls that they lost to Mahomes, 10-point leads, got interceptions in the third quarter, bad clock management, bad decision making. Quarterback wasn't set to finish up the game. That's why Cam Newton says game manager. That's why it comes off a result. What are you going to do if you are, as quote Ted, Kyle shenanigans? Who's to take the blame? Arguably the best team in the NFC easily. 4 out of the last 5 years, 2 Super Bowls, 4 NFC appearances, championship, and won 2 of them, and don't come home with the hardware. So the 49ers have underachieved. Now, even when he made up a good point and they were talking about it, to do that today, he'd have to be a better 3-point shooter. Is he straight dribbling and scoring? He can score 30 plus. He don't shoot a good enough 3 ball And guys don't really fire you like that like they did back then. He got a lot of contact, but I don't think that who he gonna play with? Who he gonna play with? He ain't gonna play with Joel Embiid and get no 43. Who he gonna play with? See, when he says that, I see what he's saying, but if he plays with Joel Embiid, they are open. And all they do was stick trees at him and make him shoot. But he wasn't that great of a three-point shooter. I'm gonna do a video about that. You want me to do? I do a video tomorrow about that. But he wasn't that great of a three-point shooter. And he ain't gonna score no 43 points for no Joel Embiid as a teammate. That's the elephant in the room. Who is he talking about? I will. He ain't gonna do that. I'll do it tomorrow. He ain't gonna do that. Because Joel Embiid is not gonna sit there and play second fiddle to him taking all the shots. And Maxey can score 20-something by himself. So what is he talking about? He's going by what he played with in his era when he played with the short order cooks and the cleanup crew. When he had Tyrone Hill and them cats. And then before Roger Bell got a shot. I'm saying, he ain't going to get these guys standing around here and let him shoot jack shots up when he didn't even shoot a good percentage. Because sometimes Iverson could be like 10 for 33 or 10 for, or you know, shoot. And then he wore himself out. They wouldn't go for that. He'd have to actually shoot a good percentage. He'd have to, you know, much as people criticize James Harden for stat padding or Dame even for stat padding or some of these guys, they shoot a good percentage. Jason Tatum shoots a good percentage. Iverson was not a three-point shooting specialist. So where is he going to get 43 points from? He had to be at the free throw line about 20 times. You ain't Shaquille O'Neal. They don't foul guards like that. And to me, it's almost like he's kind of subtly taking a shot at Steph Curry. You know, he loves Steph, but he like taking a shot. Like, you're not going to be that effective. I got to make a bounce, but I will be back in a few hours. So come back. I got to go eat and get myself together. I got to do some shopping. And I got to get some groceries. If you're here later, you're going to know, you'll know when I'm on. So give me about 2 or 3 hours. Okay, cool. And do come back because I'm going to talk more about this. All right, peace out.